Okay, so far we talked about fill and stroke color. We've learned how to apply it, but very often the big question is which color should you use?
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
I ask this question myself quite a lot, to tell you the truth. Luckily, Illustrator has some fantastic features that could help you alleviate the which color should I use type of headache. Let's look at the first one, which quite frankly in many courses out there is far too often omitted, and that is the color guide. The color guide in our Essentials workspace sits nicely here under the color palette. Now, the way it works is based on the color you have currently selected. It gives you a selection of matching colors along with the tints and shades. So, as an example, I'll choose the cupcake chocolate topping this time and move to the color guide. As you can see at the top here, Illustrator already made a swatch group for us, comprising of colors matching our selection. Well, there's not much here, right? Just two colors, you say? Well, what do you say to this? If I expand this menu that says Harmony Rules, I get lots of different groups of colors matching my chocolate topping. And whichever set I choose, complementary, complementary 2, high contrast, all of these are matching my cupcake. So I'll go for complementary 2. Now I get this checkerboard that shows me the shades to the left and the tints to the right of all the primary matches given above. So if the topping color matches this blue, for example, I'll choose it for my background. And hey, yeah, it matches. Now, what if I decided that I don't really want to go for the chocolate brown? I want to be controversial. Yeah, when it comes to cupcakes, I want to be controversial. I want to go for the purple fill instead. Well, if I go back to the swatches tab and choose purple, back in color guide, I will have a new shiny set of matching colors. And what if I like some colors from Illustrator's propositions? What if I like, say, this color? If I click to apply it, well, nothing happens. I mean, the cupcake changes, but I get no change in the color matches. Well, you still have to tell Illustrator to use it as your primary swatch. To do that, we have to click right here to the top left where it says Set Base Color to the current color. And with a simple click, I can change the color set. Again, I'll choose a different color. I'll click and change the color set. Did I hear your jaws dropping right now? Well, no wonder. Color Guide is a fantastic tool. But you know what? Better don't pick your jaws up just yet, because when I show you the next technique, they might drop again. Okay, so let's continue the jaw-dropping techniques. We'll talk about another color helper, but we will create it ourselves. Let's continue our cupcake journey and assume that your next logo project is in fact for a bakery that specializes in cupcakes. And let's assume that you're really puzzled as for the color choice. Well, this technique might come in really handy. First of all, we're going to use this image of a cupcake. What we want to do now is to trace this image. More specifically, we want to let Illustrator do that for us. And what is tracing, you might ask? Well, in this case, tracing is simply changing pixels that make an image like this into vectors. To do that, we'll head again to my beloved control panel. See this option right here that says Image Trace? We don't want to click it. We want to have some more choices to pick from in this technique. So we have to click this little triangle right here, and this list gives us tracing choices. Now is not really the time to go through all these options. For now, let's stick to 6 colors options. This will reduce the image to 6 colors and change it into vectors. And why 6 colors? Well, 6 colors is not too much, but at the same time it gives us enough color space to work with and is not overwhelming at the same time. Also, you need to remember that in logo design, less is more, especially color-wise. I mean, the less colors you use, the better. So as a rule of thumb, you should stick to just 3 colors. It's not only lowering reproduction costs that, quite frankly, nowadays have decreased significantly, but what's more important, it creates less hassle when using a logo in a wide variety of media. Okay, so let's choose 6 colors. Now Illustrator will do its work, and the time it needs to convert an image into vectors depends on the size of the image and its complexity. Okay, pixels have been turned into vectors, but there's still one thing left to do. Right now this trace remains as live effect. It means it's dynamic, and what that means is that it still can be changed. So if you wanted to, we could still go to our tracing preset panel and choose another preset. But what we want to do eventually is to create a new color group. And for that, we need to expand this image like so. This actually creates individual paths with color information. Okay, we're almost done. Now let's move to our swatches panel. Remember when we talked about getting more options from a panel in Illustrator? Let's use it now. From the choices we get here, let's go for the new color group. I'll name it, well, what it is, a cupcake, and hit OK. And voila! A new color group sits right here with swatches made from the colors of our image. Now your jaws have to drop. I mean, come on! I think that this technique is so great that I think that we need to do it again. Now let's assume that for your next logo design you need some nice flower colors. Well, let's move to this tulips image. And let's redo all the steps we did a few seconds ago. Let's select the image and from the trace presets choose 6 colors. Now let's wait a few seconds. And now let's just hit expand. Now from the swatches panel we'll choose new color group, name it tulips, and hit OK. And like so, in a few easy steps, we created ourselves a nice pack of red tulips color. There's one more thing I'd like to share with you concerning choosing the right color, and it's for all those who think that creating a new color group from an image is not really for them. Well, luckily, there's Cooler. In my workflow, Cooler, which is a great website and a great Illustrator extension, holds a special place. It is a fantastic source of color inspiration, and I use it all the time. So let's take a closer look at it. First of all, we need to bear in mind that Cooler is not a part of our Essentials workspace, so we're not able to access it directly from our right panel. Well, not yet at least. We will change it right now. Let's go to Window, Extensions, and let's choose Cooler. Now, how does this little thing work? Well, first of all, we have this search box here that allows us to browse through Cooler's swatch library, which is basically tag based. What do I mean by that? Well, let's type in, say, eggs. After a few seconds, I get color swatches tagged eggs. And I think it's really cool, and hey, maybe that's why they called it Cooler. Wow, I think I'm getting better and better at my jokes. Let's type in summer, for example. In an instant, we get a whole new bunch of color swatches to choose from. You can also browse through the entire Cooler library by changing the sequence in which the swatches are being displayed to, say, most popular, highest rated, etc. Okay, say I like this swatch group here called Summer Decadence. What a name, by the way, Summer Decadence. Well, this brings back some memories. Okay, if we are set on one of these groups, we can click this arrow here next to the color group name and choose Add Swatches to Panel. If we now head to our Swatches panel, we can see that our Summer Decadence has been added. Now we can use these swatches as we would normally use any other swatches in this panel. I really like Cooler, gotta tell you. It saves me a lot of time. In fact, I think I'm gonna keep it in my right panel. I'll drag it to Docket, and create a new workspace. Let's call it my new workspace. Getting to know the color extension concludes handling color in Illustrator. In the next section, we'll get to know the creation tools. We'll take a look at creating rectangles, squares, stars, using the pen tool and Pathfinder, and so much more. So get excited, guys!